What up, Salvador Briggman here. Welcome back to the Crowdfunding Demystified YouTube channel. Hopefully you've been watching some of my other videos out there on YouTube, but if you haven't yet and you're just new to this channel, in today's video, I want to get into some of the best practices for actually launching and raising money with an effective crowdfunding campaign. So maybe you're trying to raise money for a new physical product or for a game or a gadget or a gizmo. Maybe you're trying to raise money for more a creative project, a new art album or a book or a film project or something like that. Whatever it is, we're talking about that on today's video as well for nonprofits, etc. These crowdfunding best practices are literally golden nuggets which you can apply to your campaign so you're able to raise your full amount when it comes to what you're trying to search for with that crowdfunding campaign. And it's coming up right after this. Welcome back again. My name is Salvador Briggman, and first of all, I just want to say thank you to all of the members of my community. I really appreciate you guys, whether it's subscribing to my channel, giving me thumbs up on different videos, joining my newsletter. Like, it's been insane the last couple of months just to see the outpouring of support from y'all, and it just means a lot to me. Never did I think in my wildest dreams back in 2012 that I would still be in the crowdfunding industry and be able to actually help people every single day launch campaigns, launch products, and really help them get a new idea out there to the world or raise money for a worthy cause. So thank you so much. I am extremely grateful. All right, so let's get into today's video. If you do want to actually raise money using crowdfunding, how the heck are you going to go out there and actually do that? And what are some of these best practices? Picking the right crowdfunding campaign platform is so incredibly important because it's really the community of people which you're gaining access to when you actually decide to launch on a particular platform. In addition, it is the brand awareness of that particular platform as well for people that are coming to the campaign, that hear about it on social media, that hear about it via the news. The crowdfunding campaign platform also is going to play a tremendous amount into the actual fees which you pay when you are raising money, and as well the different functionality that you have when you're actually running that campaign, what types of projects you can and you can't run. For example, there are certain campaigns you can run on Kickstarter, but there are certain campaigns that you can't run on Kickstarter and you have to run on a website like GoFundMe, or you might be running on an equity crowdfunding campaign platform like WeFunder or Start Engine. So you have to pick the right platform that meets the needs that you have, that allows you to actually run that campaign when it comes to project type, and also when it comes to those fees, and lastly, the community which you want to be a part of. The other major reason why this is so incredible is that if you actually pick the right platform and you're able to run a campaign successfully doing what I teach, then you can actually begin to build up a following on that specific platform. So you also want to be careful about the one you choose, because if you have a successful campaign, you want to make sure you're building a following on the right platform. You want to make sure that the people that are going to be following you are going to be also showing up for your future launches. If you're doing maybe more than one, or doing a couple campaigns a year, or even just one per year, that way you have an audience that shows up for your future launches and you are on the right platform. The worst thing that can happen is you launch on the wrong platform and maybe your product or what you were trying to raise money for, or your cause or your idea just wasn't a good fit for that one, or you actually weren't allowed to. I've had certain students who do that and then they kind of violate the platform guidelines and their campaign gets suspended. Or they run that campaign and they actually are successful, but they could have been much more successful on another platform and actually raised 2 to 3 times more. And they run another campaign, they discover that on their own, and they're much more successful than with those future campaigns. Unlike a lot of what I talk about in my book, The Kickstarter Launch Formula, or my podcast, Crowdfunding Demystified, on iTunes, Spotify, etc., or even on my blog, crowdcrux.com, there actually aren't a lot of secrets here when it comes to picking the right platform. I've tried to do my best to put out tons of different YouTube videos reviewing each of the platforms so you can really make an intelligent choice when it comes to launching your campaign. A couple ones off the top of my head that I would say are sort of the top platforms out there. If you're in rewards-based crowdfunding, it's gonna be Kickstarter, Indiegogo, Seed and Spark, platforms like that that maybe are also specialized when it comes to your specific niche or category. With equity crowdfunding, it's definitely gonna be WeFunder, Republic, Start Engine, the biggies when it comes to that list. And with charity or nonprofits, I would say you're really deciding between peer-to-peer fundraising or traditional crowdfunding. Traditional crowdfunding, more for personal cause, you might be thinking GoFundMe, or if you're doing more of a peer-to-peer fundraising, you might be thinking for something like classy.org or Mobile Cause, or there are a ton of them which you can look up on my channel or on my website. Once you have done your research, and for some people that might be really boring or really not very fun, for me, dude, I love doing research. I love learning new things and like being able to download information in my head. It feels like a superpower. So take this as an opportunity to enjoy the process. You're going through the process of learning how to get a campaign funded, how to launch something new into the world, right? Why not enjoy the process at the same time? So the next kind of phase when it comes to your research is really nailing down, and this is point number 2, a killer marketing strategy. So what I'm mean by marketing is how are you going to get the word out there about your campaign? Now, a lot of students will come to me or they'll book a coaching call with me and they're like, Sal, I really want to launch this campaign and I want it to go viral. And I totally understand that. I have had people on my podcast, I've had students who have had campaigns go viral. However, no matter if your strategy is to go viral or not, you need a bedrock foundation of a marketing strategy to drive traffic to that sucker, to get people to support it on day one, to back your campaign immediately when you go live. So that way you can actually start trending in the charts of whatever platform you actually choose. You can get what we call in marketing terms social proof, which is really just a fancy word for credibility. I hate those fancy words that are like people just throw around different jargon, right? It's really just getting credibility. Seeing that other people are taking action makes it so that other people are also likely to take action. A killer marketing strategy is going to have an element when it comes to your pre-launch, what you're doing before the campaign actually goes live, how you're warming up your particular audience or the people that you know, friends and family, to take action on those first couple of days when you do go live. So that way you can start trending in the charts, start getting that social proof and that momentum so you can attract people on the actual platform to then back your campaign, to support you, to buy your product, whatever it is that you're trying to do. And you then also have a marketing strategy for when you are live to avoid things like the Kickstarter slump of death, which occurs on many different types of platforms or campaigns where you're really just slowing down momentum. You might also have a PR or a marketing strategy. And you might also have a strategy when it comes to things like paid advertisements even. So there's so many different things that go into an effective marketing strategy. And I think this is one of the areas that many people struggle with. The reason why I put this as the second point in this video is that marketing actually goes way beyond just driving traffic and cashing in and having that funding meter going up and up. It's really about your brand. It's about your mission. It's about your values. It's about your why. Because why else is someone going to show up at your campaign, never having met you before, a complete stranger, and decide to actually support you, to back your campaign, to give you money, to really become a part of your community? The only reason is if they actually have brand values that really penetrate through the noise. Something that you're doing that's worth mentioning. Some way that you're making an impact on the world or the universe, or the values that you have when it comes to the craftsmanship of the invention or the product in which you made, which you're now maybe raising money for. So to kind of sum up this point, I would say that the first thing that you really need to understand when it comes to an effective marketing strategy is that it's really built in 2 phases. One is the pre-launch and one is when you're live, and maybe even post-launch as well if you're going to be announcing this on another website of some kind. But really the pre-launch and when you're live are the 2 major key areas. The next is the branding component, your values, your mission, how you're going to connect with people beyond just this maybe ask when it comes to your cause or when it comes to your product or whatever it is that you're trying to raise money for, maybe a game or gizmo or something like that, or even a new book you're coming out with, really understanding the story or the mission behind that. And the third part when it comes to that marketing strategy is just good old-fashioned traffic generation, which is actually one of my favorite pieces of the process. I love building up new websites, new communities. My forum, kickstarterforum.org, has over 10,000 members. We have more than 10,000 people on my Facebook group. Our YouTube channel is growing and growing. I'm getting tons and tons of downloads every single day on my podcast. I love generating traffic. It's just like really cool to have like a community around you. And that's really the third part you have to know is how to market, how to promote, and have that be a part of your marketing strategy. So if you need a little bit of help when it comes to figuring this out, I actually have a great newsletter out there called the Killer Crowdfunding Tips Newsletter, where I share every single week cutting edge marketing tips. How do you get a campaign funded? How do you drive backers to a campaign? How do you get people to care and really break through the noise when it comes to your message? I talk about all of that every single week with my free Killer Crowdfunding Tips newsletter, which you can check out at the link down below. Want to take all the stress out of fulfilling your Kickstarter rewards? Fulfillrite is the turnkey solution that puts product delivery on autopilot. The Top Campaigns uses trusted high-tech provider to store, package, and ship their products. Focus on growing your business. Leave shipping to the experts. Don't wait. Get a custom quote from Fulfillrite today. Link in the description. Point number 3 when it comes to crowdfunding best practices, and we actually might get interrupted here because there's getting a lot of thunderstorms here in Miami at this time of year. But point number 3 that I really want to make is that you need to assemble an effective crowdfunding campaign page. Take a second to imagine this scenario. Let's imagine for a second that you actually do pick the right platform or the right marketplace. So maybe if you're opening a new store, you pick the right location. Or in the case of a fundraiser, maybe you pick the right location to hold a fundraising gala or some kind of event or cool function. Next, you do everything in your power store to really craft that epic killer marketing strategy that we talked about, so that when you open up the doors to this store or you open up and start this event, that people are showing up in droves. But what happens if the internal decor of your store actually kind of sucks and like no one actually is enjoying it or having good experiences? When it comes to your products, they aren't liking it at all, and you haven't really invested in the actual location itself when it comes to where you are selling this, or in the case of a fundraising gala, the actual event space. What happens if you haven't really put any thought or attention into that? Well, chances are that if they do come to that, they're not actually going to take action. They're not going to buy anything. They're not going to support your nonprofit or charity. They're not going to take action in kind of a meaningful way, and that's because their expectations versus reality really didn't sync up, right? When it comes to that, they were so excited, so hyped up, so really looking forward to a great experience, but they show up, and it was kind of mediocre. That is the equivalent to basically not really thinking through crafting a compelling crowdfunding campaign page. So things, for example, like including a video on that page, having graphics, having GIFs, having text going down that page that really sizzles and really sells what you're trying to do, having your mission, having your values, having all the things that someone needs to get excited about the project, to make a decision, and also those enticing reward tiers. I recommend actually doing this after you've done your brand building and sort of exercise when it comes to target market of your marketing, because that way you know who you're speaking to and you know the kinds of campaigns as well, if you've done your homework, that looks similar to yours. So that way, when you actually go out there and you craft your crowdfunding campaign page, you're working off of a base of knowledge that's really surefire to lead you to people actually showing up, being impressed, being excited, taking action, and backing your campaign. At this point in the video, your number one takeaway should be, okay, I could have the platform and I could have my marketing in place, but if I don't actually have that great crowdfunding campaign page, I could be sending thousands of people to it, but it could have a very dismal conversion rate in terms of the number of people that are taking action and backing it and supporting you. So at this point, you might be thinking, wow, that's a lot more work than I was thinking was going to go into a crowdfunding campaign or a simple fundraiser. And I agree with you, it is a lot of work. And it's one of the reasons why I have dedicated my life's mission since 2012 to helping people just like you get through this process easily without too much headaches. So for example, if you're trying to do a Kickstarter campaign for a new product you're trying to raise money for, a tabletop, a game, a film project, or even something more artistic in nature, a book or a music, a kind of a project like that, I have a great free course out there for you down below, which you can check out in the link in the description. And this free course will show you exactly how to set up one of these campaigns effectively, how to do the marketing strategy, how to actually get that video and campaign page to sizzle, to really be something that leaps off the page. And also when it comes to picking the right platform, whether that is Kickstarter or Indiegogo or another one that's out there, go and check out that link down below for my free course on Kickstarter that will walk you step by step through how to launch an effective campaign. In addition, if you're trying to launch a nonprofit crowdfunding campaign, I also have a free course down below for those that are interested in raising money for a cause, for peer-to-peer fundraising, or for a nonprofit crowdfunder. I have a great free course down below which you can go through in order to learn exactly what you got to do to get strangers to actually back and support you to become a donor of your nonprofit organization and help your organization achieve its goals. And finally, for any other kind of category out there, you betcha I got that free course link, which I will have down below for many of the major categories. So if nothing else, take some time to really invest in your education. Spend a little bit of time learning about these platforms, learning about marketing, learning about what you got to do when it comes to crafting a killer crowdfunding campaign page. So that way, when you actually launch this sucker, you're able to hit that full amount and likely blow past it when it comes to your goal. And that way, have a great experience when it comes to crowdfunding. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Again, my name is Salvador Briggman. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Come subscribe to the channel for more content just like this, and I will see you next time.